What is your position on jobs in this community? We have 65% or 55% African American male unemployment, 45% African American female unemployment. So, we have a crisis here. We have a crisis.
And it's only getting worse with the current national economic situation.
Yeah, the current national economic situation. But essentially, before that was laid out in the open, we were already at the statistical level already. So
we were already in our own recession.
How,
As a victim of the economic downturn, because I did lose my job at one point. I'm consulting now. I understand how tough it is. And I'm a man who has a college degree and a master's and 6 years of intense corporate work. I mean, I worked on $1.4 billion budget, which I was in charge of. And budget control is big in the issue in the city, but even I'm having trouble finding, having trouble finding consistent work. So imagine if you didn't have a college degree. Imagine if you didn't have a high school degree. Imagine if you only had, let's say you even have a GED. How do we get our people to realize that before we get any programs, we need to stand up and take care of our own education? We need to have a change in our mindset. When did education not become cool anymore? When did it stop being black to be smart? When did this happen? You came from a generation where education is what you fought for.
But we've had a major cultural shift since then. I mean, we've got the hip hop generation, hip hop politics, hip hop. I mean, they put their brand on everything, but the end results has been a dumbing down of our youth.
And I agree, but I come from the hip hop generation. I'm 28 years of age. I grew up in this, and my friends grew up in this, and we've been able to be successful because we were lucky because we had parents and a village that surrounded us to tell us this is how you become successful. You ask these kids out here, what do they want to be? A lot of them are going to say, I want to be an NBA basketball player because they think that's the easiest way they can make money out of the hood. And the reality is, 1 out of every million kids is going to become an NBA player. But 1 out of every 50,000 could become a doctor. 1 out of every 15,000 could become a lawyer and make just as much money. Dr. Buss, who owns the LA Lakers, signs Kobe Bryant's checks. And we need to express that to these kids. And that's why I think my ability to communicate to the young and old, a bridge between both generations, is the biggest advantage of why I should be city council person, because I can get to these kids. I can get them to understand that if you want to make money, do you want to have that car on 22-inch rims, and you want to have that cool house, this is the easiest way to do it, is through school. And we need to cultivate our education curriculum so that they be more engaged. Use things around them, use more things in Harlem so they won't be like, I want to learn this. Teach them things that's going to make them say, you know what, that makes sense, Landon. In high school, if you're not going to go to college, fine. But you can take vocational training for green technology so you can be prepared for these new jobs coming out with the stimulus package and in the future of our economy. That's how you get prepared for the future. That's how we prepare our kids. We have not been preparing them. We are not. And then we want to sit there and we have the audacity to talk down to them because they're on the streets doing nothing when we haven't provided them what they needed.
So you're saying the community has failed?
Not the community, but the leadership to communicate to the community
has failed.
And then what happens is the community is fighting for themselves, so it's no longer having this bond of brotherhood that you grew up in. And I know you remember those days. Sunday dinners where not just your family ate together, but 2 or 3 families ate together. We don't do that anymore. We don't communicate that anymore. And it's key that we have this. A politician is more of someone who writes legislation. It's someone who can get people to understand together we can make home a better place. And that's the one thing, no matter what they want to say, Adam Clayton Powell did the best. I know some people don't like him sometimes in the past, and some people love him, but he was able to get people to work together, and that's what I want to bring back to the table. No more, I'm not going to help you because you didn't vote for me. I'm going to help you because you live in Harlem. I don't care who you voted for. I don't care who you gave money to. What I care about is that you have a job, you have a roof over your head, and you have safe streets for your kids to play in. Let's give our kids their childhood back. Let's get our community back. Let's get back to Harlem.
Well, one of the biggest issues always comes up after the election. And
yes.
The question of accountability.
And transparency. Accountability. Transparency. One thing I want to do Now, take this from the Obama page, the stimulus package. They have a website up where you can track where money from the stimulus bill is going. I want to do the same thing. I know my incumbent, every time she speaks, she says, oh, I got $50 million to the community. Okay, that's great that you got $50 million. But where's that $50 million going? The New York Yankees have the highest payroll in baseball, but they haven't won a championship since 2000. The Florida Marlins, who has the lowest payroll in baseball, has won 2. So it's about how you use the money, not exactly how much money. What nonprofits are getting it? Is it your friends? Or is it the nonprofits that are really doing the work? Is it Reverend Vernon Williams, who's out in the streets every day talking to these kids? Or is it your friend who's using the money to make sure her salary or his salary is high and they got their friends employed and put them in apartments, and cheap apartments is not really meant for them? It's about where's the money going? How is it being utilized? And I guarantee you, with my budget background in construction, I will cut the waste and put the money where it's needed. Keep our community centers open late at night so we can keep our kids off the street. I'd rather have my kids playing basketball at 2 o'clock in the morning than playing dice at 2 o'clock in the morning, because we know what happens at the end of a dice game. Let's put that money into after school programs so our kids, let's say their parents aren't good and they're not living in a good household, they have a place where they can talk to someone like you and I who they know will care about them and teach them math and English so they will be successful, graduate from high school, go to college, start small businesses when they come back to Harlem and make Harlem a better place. These are the type of things that we need.
Well, on that note, we're going to end this interview, but it will be continued. We look forward to seeing you in the future, and we wish you success with your endeavors.
First off, my name is Landon Dais. I'm proud to run for the 9th District. I'm proud to represent you. On September 15th, go to the polls as if Obama was running again. He wanted change, but we got change on top. Now it's time for change on the bottom. If we do not change the bottom, the change on top will not trickle down to the people on the bottom. I do not believe in Reaganomics. If you don't want to change the bottom, that means you believe that Reagan said, give the money to the rich and eventually get to the poor. No. Let's create it from the bottom. Someone who's going to represent you, who's going to fight for you, and make sure your children have a safe streets to play on, an education that's going to allow them survive. You can go to my website, www.landondais.com, LANDONDAIS.com. Email me, invite me to your home. Let's talk, let's have dialogue. Because I cannot do this even if I win, but we can make Harlem a better place. Our time is now. New leadership for a better community. Thank you kindly for your attention.